The Bhagavad Gita is a teaching whose purpose is to bring us into communion with God in the heart. The very word Gita means song, which indicates that the Bhagavad Gita is not really a book. It's an oral teaching which has been passed down through generations of teachers for 5,000 years. So therefore I've called this presentation of the Gita Talks Between the Soul and God, because really in essence the teaching is intended to bring me into conversation with God. The Gita is divided into 18 chapters, and those 18 chapters fall into three parts. The first part, the first 6 chapters, I've titled The Soul in the World. The scene opens on a battlefield where the warrior Arjuna, here carrying his bow, is in a chariot which is driven by his friend Krishna. Krishna is God incarnate, who does not wish to take part in the fighting, but has agreed to very symbolically, has agreed to drive his friend's chariot. The battle 5,000 years ago is a confrontation between all the known fighting forces of the world. Everyone has to join one side or another, and it's a great crisis, very reminiscent of the crisis we face in today's world, where, whether we like it or not, we all find ourselves caught up in the great war with nature, which is actually threatening our very survival. The warrior asks his friend Krishna to take his chariot to the center so that he can see both the armies, who has come here to fight. And when he sees that in the armies on both sides are in fact the people he loves, his friends and relatives, he is filled with foreboding and fear. He doesn't fear exactly to fight, but he fears the consequences of so many friends and loved ones killing each other. This is a horrible act. And so he drops his bow. His mighty bow, which is the symbol of all his pride and his courage and his strength. He drops it on the ground and he falls to his knees and he rejects the battle. He says to Krishna that I cannot fight in this battle. Please help me. And at this point of despair, he's looking into the black pit of despair, his bow on the ground. He cannot see that Krishna is there, looking at him, in fact with great compassion. In the Gita we're told that at this point, whilst Arjuna was trembling, the warrior is trembling with fear. This is the point of crisis, which all of us at one point or another in our lives, we will come to points of crisis where I have no idea what to do, and I'm filled with fear. At this moment, Krishna, we're told, is smiling because he knows that his friend will learn from this and will, in fact, this is a great opportunity for his friend to discover divine wisdom. Krishna begins by explaining to Arjuna that don't fear fighting in this battle because you are eternal, you can never die, nor can any of those present here ever really die. The soul is without birth and without death. And this is the fundamental teaching of spiritual life, which lays the foundation for everything that comes afterwards. To understand that I am not this physical body, but I am an eternal spirit. However, Krishna goes on to say, you are living in this world, therefore you must act. Even though this world is a temporary place and you are an eternal spirit, you must act in this world. We all have tasks to perform. And Krishna explains the art of working in this world, which is called karma yoga. Yoga means to connect with God. That word yoga is found throughout the Gita. How to connect with God through service and through work, which will not entangle me. If I work in this world, Krishna goes on to explain, with knowledge and understanding, that knowledge will be like a fire which will burn to ashes the karmic results of my work. And so, in the boat of wisdom, divine wisdom, I will be carried across this ocean of birth and death, and I need have no fear, because I will find peace even in the midst of this world of confusion and fear. Krishna goes on to explain that you can be in this world and yet untouched by it, exactly as a lotus which grows in the water stands ever above the water and is untouched by it. So one who has discovered spiritual understanding and spiritual wisdom, who knows, if I know that I am an eternal spirit, that I never am born or die, I can act in this world, but without being caught up in the anxiety and pain of it. And in such a state of enlightenment, my mind can be at peace, just like a lamp in a windless place is undisturbed. My mind will be peaceful and undisturbed, and I can taste spiritual bliss in that natural state of the soul. So this is the conclusion of the first section of the Gita, where Krishna describes that you are actually an eternal spirit, and if you live in that knowledge, then you will be able to live peacefully in this world and not be entangled by the results of your actions.